Good evening and welcome into the U Show, week number 9. Ezra Gennello along with you. Good evening. Welcome into YouTube Live, the USHL, the U Show, everything going on around the USHL. Now 9 weeks into the regular season. Week 9 was a blast. We had a whole lot of fun. Some teams more fun than others. We did see a lot of goal scoring, and I mean a lot of goal scoring last weekend. How about 17 goals in 2 games from just one team? One team, 17 goals in 2 games. We'll talk about that team, mostly when we talk about standings and scores, and maybe even a little bit during the players of the week. We get to hear from the head coach of that team. If you don't know who I'm talking about, by the way, that's the Madison Capitals. Head coach Andy Brandt joins the show. Earlier today, he sat down with a member of their front office. Drew, the broadcaster, the voice of the Madison Capitals, Drew Steele, talked with Andy Brandt about that 17-goal weekend against the USNTDP under-18 team. They also talked about the upcoming schedule and the season thus far, and a couple of players who were honored by the USHL for their Week 9 performances. Now, the USHL, big goal-scoring factory this past weekend, but also a lot of free hockey in the USHL. A lot of overtime games, a lot of shootouts in the USHL this past weekend. We're going to talk about all of them right here on the U Show. But first, we promised you some players of the week, all from the Eastern Conference, a couple of Madcaps and a couple of Phantoms. Your forward of the week, Riker Lee, defenseman on his team, on the ice with him sometimes too, Colton Jamieson. And the goalie of the week, Melvin Strahl, the Columbus Blue Jackets draft pick, playing his USHL hockey in that same state in Ohio, in Youngstown at the Covelli Center. Your USHL Week 9 players of the week. Let's take a look at some of their highlights from this past weekend.
Side Barabanov out front for Lee. Lee with a shot that time finds the back of the net with .6. The Capitals able to take the lead on the power play. Riker Lee, what will be a game-winning goal with .6 seconds left, buries. Never gets there. Mo eventually gets it up top for Jamieson. Lee down low. Cowan shot there. Now Jamieson with a rip, and he scores! Colton Jamieson on the power play gets the scoring started. All 5 players on the ice included in it. Cowan has his stick lifted. Jamieson there to follow up on the missed pass. Back. Lee on the half wall, looking for options. Plays it to the point now. Jamieson. Jamieson shot towards goal. Finds the back of the net. Colton Jamieson, second of the night. Riker Lee with the assist. The Capitals within 1. I don't think anyone had a clue where that one was coming from. Did it get deflected along the way? It didn't.
Off the wall, out to center, couldn't find Burchell. Riders bring it back in the zone. Ronaldo tees it up, shot. Glove save, Mel.
So your Week 9 players of the week, including Melvin Strahl, the shutout. You see the celebration at the end of that game, that shutout for Melvin Strahl, a 0.50 goals against average. Now, I believe so. He gave up 1 goal in 2 games between the game against the Cedar Rapids Rough Riders and the NTDP. 2 games, 1 goal, half a goal per game, 0.50. That is ridiculous. An unbelievable number for Melvin Strahl, last week's USHL goaltender of the week of the Youngstown Phantoms. Riker Lee and Colton Jamieson up there as well, helping the Madison Capitals to a weekend sweep over top of the USNTDP under-17 team. Let's take a look at the rest of the scores around the USHL, the Week 9 scoreboard. The week got started on Tuesday in Sioux Falls, a battle of Siouxland. Sioux City paying a visit to the Stampede, where the Herd picked up the 4-1 win on Tuesday evening. Then on Friday and Saturday, full 8-game slates. It started in the Eastern time zone, where the Phantoms picked up a 4-0 shutout over top the Cedar Rapids Rough Riders. That was the shutout for Melvin Strahl. Dubuque 7-2 over Des Moines in some Dupaco Cowbell Cup action. The Lincoln Stars paid a visit to the Eastern Conference and Chicago, where they shut out the home team Steel 7-0, while the Force, they picked up a 3-2 win over top of Green Bay, some East versus West. The Stampede, they continued their great week with a 4-1 win in Omaha, while the Lumberjacks, a 3-2 shootout over top the Sioux City Musketeers. Bjorn Bronis in between the pipes for the Muskies. Shika Gadziev in between the pipes for the Lumberjacks. It was a flat-out goaltending duel. A great comeback effort by the Musketeers. 2 goals in the final minute and 10 seconds. But the Lumberjacks, they picked it up in the shootout 3-2. Tri-City then defeated Waterloo in a shootout as well, 5-4. The NTDP, the first loss of the weekend for them. The 17s, 12-1. The Capitals, they came out on top. Then on Saturday, Youngstown, they picked up their second win of the weekend, a weekend sweep, defeating the Rough Riders 5-3. While the Lancers, they were the road team on Saturday, picked up a 3-2 overtime win over top of Sioux Falls. Green Bay, they did the same, 4-3 over Fargo, while the Lumberjacks picked up a 2-1 win over Sioux City. Another great goaltending battle, though this time it was Samuel Urban across from Stephen Peck. 2-1, the final score. Both teams fired 21 shots on net. The Storm, 5-3 winners on the road over top of the Blackhawks to win their weekend sweep, while the Stars swept Chicago with an 8-5 win on Saturday. Dubuque, an overtime win, 4-3 over top of Des Moines, and then much, much closer. But how about Riker Lee in the final minute, 5-4, last-second goal to pick up the win over top the NTDP under-17 team. We got to talk, well, not me, Drew Steele, got to talk with Andy Brandt, the head coach of the Madison Capitals, not just the head coach, but the general manager as well, about that 17-goal performance in 2 games from his team. They talked about Riker Lee, Colton Jameson, the weekend as a whole, and looking forward to. So let's take a look at the Week 9 USHL U-Show interview with head coach and general manager of the Madison Capitals, Andy Brandt.
All right, we welcome head coach and general manager of the Madison Capitals onto the show. Coach, pair of wins last weekend against the U17s, a total of 17 goals on the weekend. I think it's tough to complain on that side of things.
Yeah, offensively on Friday night, things were going our way. Just from a standpoint of we were shooting the puck really well. We did some small things that got us several scoring chances, and guys capitalized. And then a little bit of a different game on Saturday night for us, just in terms of we got up early. Probably thought it was going to be an easier game after getting up 2-0. Found ourselves down 4-2 going into the third, and then our guys responded. And I was proud of them. Our coaching staff was proud of them. Just their ability to stick with it for 20 minutes, and then obviously it paid off with less than a second left in the game.
Riker Lee and Colton Jameson both named players of the week at their respective positions. Lee with 4 goals on Friday, the game-winning goal on Saturday. Added a pair of assists to that, and then JMO a big part of the win on Saturday. What are your thoughts on their performances?
Well, I'll start with JMO first. Like, for us as a coaching staff, it's fun to see JMO kind of come into his own this year. Last year, he did a great job in the league for us. He was asked to do some different things in terms of PK and not get the opportunity on the power play last year. So he worked on his game overall, and then this year he's just been at a different level. He's skating at a different level. His confidence is at a different level. Obviously, his ability to shoot pucks on the power play from the top and get them through has gotten him rewarded with some goals. And then Riker, he's a pace driver for us, not only in games but in practice. He brings a lot of energy to our group in practice. Every rep matters to Riker Lee, whether it's a skills rep or a systematic rep for us, or whether it's small area games, it all matters. And I think you see it paying off for him individually, but I also see how it infects our team in a good way.
A quartet of players making their way to the World Junior A Challenge along with yourself. What are your thoughts on the 4 players being chosen to represent the country, as well as how are you feeling about heading into Camrose later on this season?
Well, first and foremost, it's an honor to represent your country, something new for me, so I can't thank Mark Boxer, USA Hockey, and Match Maybe Enough for thinking of me and allowing me to be a part of that staff. So I'm excited for that. And then as far as our players, starting from the back out, Caleb is again, faced a little bit of adversity last year with Sioux Falls. Things didn't necessarily go the way he had wanted to go in his first full season in the USHL, and kind of realized he had to make some changes in how he did things. And he's come in here for us and works hard every day and has a great relationship with Shane. And I don't think Shane gets enough credit for what he's done with our goalies last year and continuing on to this year. So it's nice to see Caleb get rewarded in that regard and be on that team. And then Stouter is again, like, Stouter's come in and almost a little bit like JMO in terms of, like, Stouter can be on the power play and he can play those minutes, but we haven't asked him to do that. So he's settled into a really good 5-on-5 PK role. And then when we need somebody to hop on the power play, whether we're injured or someone's out, he can step in and fill that role. So and he's gained a step. I think he's put in work in the offseason to make sure his skating has gotten better, and he's gained a step, and we can see it here throughout the start of the year. And you look at Mason Moe, he's been on the USA team twice now with them, whether it be playing colleges or overseas, and he's done a great job getting limited minutes with them, but he's produced and he's done his part. And then coming back with us and getting more minutes and on the power play and working opposite sides of Riker Lee, who he's on the team with. And again, much like we talked about Riker already, his ability to infect the team in a good way, and it's usually through his pace, his work ethic, and he has fun playing the game.
The team acquired Jackson Nevers from Waterloo, announced on Tuesday. What are your thoughts on Nevers and what he brings to your squad?
Power forward, responsible, 200-foot player. I think that translates not only to our league, but the next level at the college level. Jackson can play up and down in the lineup. Doesn't matter where you put him, whether it's first line, fourth line, power play, penalty kill. He has the ability to do it all, and I think he hangs his hat on his compete factor, his physicality at times, but also his brain. So we're excited to get him in a uniform and get him into a game here this weekend.
Big pair of games coming up this weekend against the Sioux City Musketeers. What does your team need to do to come away with another pair of victories?
Well, I think we have to play hard and detailed. We know that Sioux City's a quality hockey team that's well coached. Their special teams is really good. Their goaltending's good. So I know we had a lot of success last weekend against the U17s. I think it's going to be a different game. I think it's going to be a more physical game. I think it's going to be a tighter series with them. And that's just a credit to how they're coached and how they play on a day-to-day basis. So we better be ready to compete. We better be ready to be detailed. And when we get opportunities, we got to make sure they count.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Welcome back into the U Show. Ezra Gennello along with you. Big thanks to not just Andy Brandt, the head coach and general manager of the Madison Capitals, but also Drew Steele, the voice of the Caps on Flow Hockey, recording that interview and sharing it with us. A big week in the Capitals organization. Not just do you score 17 goals in 2 games and win them both. You have the USHL forward and defenseman of the week, Riker Lee and Colton Jamieson. But you add a player to your organization, Jackson Nevers, a future Minnesota Golden Gopher. He'll play his college hockey in the Big Ten in Minnesota. Makes his way from the Western Conference with the Waterloo Blackhawks and over to the Eastern Conference with the Madison Capitals. You heard Coach Brandt talk about Nevers, a power forward. He's going to drive the play. He's a big pickup, a style of game that not only is effective here in the USAHL, but is effective at the next level in college hockey, where he's going to develop those skills as a big power forward with the Capitals, develop them here in the USAHL so that he is a difference maker when he makes his way to the Big Ten Division I college hockey as a Golden Gopher at the University of Minnesota. Jackson Nevers from the Blackhawks to the Capitals. As a Lumberjacks guy, I don't love the trade. I don't want to see Jackson Nevers that often. He is a really, really strong, talented hockey player. A big pickup for the Capitals. Another move, Kaz Sobieski, I saw today, announced by Matt Lipsack and the Youngstown Phantoms. How about a big weekend for them, too? 3 games, 3 wins, the USHL Goalie of the Week. When you bring back a player from the college game, Kaz Sobieski, I think I'm saying it correctly. I think he was at UMass Amherst. And he's going to come back to the USAHL and help Youngstown pick up, their second Clark Cup in 3 seasons. Pretty decent. They're looking for a big push. The Youngstown Phantoms, Madison Capitals, big pickups this week in the USAHL. But it's not just about that. We have top plays when we come back. The guys who did some big things this weekend, not just the amount of goals they scored, but the pretty ones too. How about the saves? When we come back, top plays of Week 9 in the USHL right here on the U Show.
Welcome to the United States Hockey League.
Puck comes back out. Levshunov skating down. Nice move and a goal!
Just spectacular.
That's what an all USHL player does when the lights shine the brightest.
Celebrini, Finley cuts in.
NHLShop.com, the official online store of the National Hockey League, and the world's largest selection of officially licensed NHL fan gear, with unique one-of-a-kind designs by Fanatics, and all the latest styles for every NHL team. Don't miss out. Shop now and get today's special offer. NHLShop.com, a Fanatics experience.
Welcome back into the U Show. Ezra Gennello along with you. Top plays in the USHL. Now, before, I'd say the first 6 episodes of the U Show, I would talk to you about the top plays, tell you the kid, tell you what they did, and we just be done with it. But it's not just about the player. How about some of the top calls in the USHL? Josh Starr, the voice of the Dubuque Fighting Saints, Matt Lipsack, Drew Steele, Lipsack in Youngstown, Steele in Madison, among the broadcasters who are featured in this week's USHL Top Plays of the Week, the U Show, Week 9. Not just about the plays, about the broadcasters too, but how about the pretty saves, the pretty goals, and the pretty passes? Let's take a look at Week 9's Top Plays of the Week.
In the period is the Capitals on the near side, Barabanov. Up top, Jamison. Far side, Lee. Back up top, Jamison. Near side, Barabanov. Out front for Lee. Lee with a shot that time. Finds the back of the net with .6. The Capitals able to take the lead on the power play. Riker Lee. What will be a game-winning goal with .6 seconds left. Buries.
Saints have to rush back. Van Vliet, the only one back. It's a 3-on-1. Deladonna into the Saints end. Feeds toward the front. Kiss. He'll shoot. Saved by Bierman. He covers up the rebound. He slid to the left, and Stone Kiss all alone. Taking the draw. Near circle to the left against Kernan for Des Moines. Spicer wins back. The Saints find Jenner showing the slot all along the shot. He scores! He rips it by. The Saints win 4-3 in overtime. Torgel Jenner shows second of the night and his second overtime winner of the season. The Saints sweep the weekend. They win it 4-3 in overtime.
Slezak picked up by Hesh. Jakob behind him, went through Coleman into Stingram. Stingram, Dello, Coleman, what a save by Reeltz!
Corner. Fans yelling, shoot, shoot, shoot. 5 seconds to play. Green Bay content to pin it along the boards. Ron throws it towards the net. It bounces. They score! Unbelievable. The puck came out of the corner, a low-angle shot. It popped up into the air and somehow got behind the netminder, Gavin Moffett. The clock says 0.0. And we're going to get another look at this. Rom throws it. Mason Fleece just knocked it out of midair, kind of bounced it. And it went over the pad.
So welcome back into the U Show. Ezra Gennello along with you. Top 5 plays in the USHL. Now, there's a Twitter user or X user that's tweeted at me 2 straight weeks about AJ Reeltz saves over in Cedar Rapids. I think it's Matty Light 1991. 2 weeks he's been telling me, hey, AJ Reeltz, check him out. Big saves. Even Matt Lipsack got in on the action saying, you guys got to check out these saves. And we do. We try and watch every single play. There's a lot of great plays. Matthew McGreevy, the communications specialist in the USAHL, Logan Murphy, who puts together all the great graphics and highlights and stuff like that you see on social media. And then there's me, but I'm with the Lumberjacks over the weekend. So unless we're talking Jacks and David Klee, I'm pretty tuned out. Those two guys, they do a great job. So here's my message. You want your player focused on the top plays? You think that they did something spectacular? Do exactly what Matty Light 1991 did. Send us a tweet. Take the clip, put it together, put it on Twitter, and let us know. Because we'll see them. We see the tweets. We interact with the fans. We love interacting with the USHL fans. They are the lifeblood of the United States Hockey League, and they're the reason why we get to do what we do. The players get to play in front of full, sold-out arenas. The coaches get to coach. The broadcasters get to broadcast. But it's really for the players and for the fans. And how about that number one play of the week in Fargo? Mason Fleece on a puck that was shot from the corner from Jordan Ron. The confidence and the hand-eye coordination to redirect the puck, bounce it off the ice, and pass the netminder to tie the game and force overtime in front of a packed barn in Fargo. An awesome, awesome scene. Military appreciation jerseys, the FGO, the classic 1980 USA jerseys they're wearing at home. You also saw Dubuque wearing the red, white, and blue on their military appreciation night. They did a swearing-in ceremony during the game as well. Awesome scenes from around the USAHL. Packed barns, happy fans, happy players. That's what we're all about here in the USHL. Well, we took a look at the top plays, the guys that got it done in a pretty way. Big saves, big goals, big assists, OT winners, game-tying goals, game winners in the final second. But what about the guys that are doing it consistently over and over and over again, whether that's finding the back of the net, finding open teammates. Maybe that's a combination of both. Maybe it's just being on the ice and producing in the offensive end and being sound in your own zone and having a strong plus-minus category. The USHL league leaders. And this week, we actually get a player that did it the beautiful way with a top play of the week and a player that finds himself at the top of the USHL league leaderboards. Let's take a look at them here on the U Show entering week 10. Oh, no. Nice and slow. Here we go. Giacomo Martino and Landon Gunderson continue to share a spot at the top of the USHL with 21 points, tied up with Riker Lee, who had a massive weekend over in Madison. 21 points leading the USAHL. Jack Picard in Lincoln with 20. Carmelo Crandell, 19 points in 5th place. 5 players have 17 in the goals category. Lee up there as well, tied with Merrill Stenario of the Fargo Force. Gio DeJulian up there for the Lincoln Stars. John McNeilis with DeJulian with 10. Giacomo Martino and 6 other guys around the league with 9 goals. In the assist category, Landon Gunderson picked up another one this weekend, now has 18. Sam Larilla in Fargo with 15. Picard, 14. Crandell and Reed Davidilla with 12 alongside 2 other guys around the USAHL. And then plus minus. Are you taking care of your stuff on the back end? Are you not just focused on the points, but being sound defensively on all 200 feet of the ice? John Stout, he says yes. He leads the USHL in plus minus at plus 16. Matthew Desiderio plus 15. Alexander Rybakov, Austin Moline tied up for 3rd with 14. Igor Barabanov and Teddy Mulgrave tied up for 5th with 12. These guys, they are effective at every inch of the ice. 200 by 85, the dimensions for a hockey rink, and those guys are getting it done on every single inch of it, no matter where they are. Defensive zone, offensive zone. I was having a conversation with a Lumberjack this week, and they said, well, you can't trust the plus-minus stat for defensemen because maybe they're not on the ice for a ton of goals for. And I said, well, listen, plus-minus, you love to be a league leader, and you love to see your name among the top of the USAHL. But really, everybody in the USAHL, if you're a plus and you're a top 6 defenseman, you're doing your job, you're playing your role, you're developing your skills to be effective, not just here, but at the next level, at the NCAA. So we just highlight the top 6 guys, top 5 guys in some categories, but really, there's a lot of talented hockey players around the USAHL, and not just the guys wearing the shin pads and shoulder pads with a stick trying to shoot the puck to the back of the net. How about the guys wearing the leg pads and the big chest protector trying to keep the puck out of the back of the net? The USHL goaltending leaders among qualified netminders. That means entering week 10, you've played 300 minutes on the ice for your team this season. Alan Lendak with Marvin Strahl and Jan Shostak. They lead the USHL with 8 wins. Caleb Heil, John Spoonar, and 2 other goalies with 7 wins atop the USHL. In the goals against average, Jan Shostak just 2.04 GAA, Lendak with a 2.15. Then a couple of Lumberjacks, Shika Godziev a 2.20, Stephen Peck a 2.21, with Gavin Moffett and Caleb Heil, a Green Bay Gambler, and a Madison Capital, rounding out the goals against average category. In the save percentage, Spoonar atop the league at a 9.26, Moffett 9.22, Shostak 9.20. There's Stephen Peck again, tied up with Shostak for third. A.J. White. Now look at this. You have not one, but 2 Madison Capitals on this screen. Caleb Heil and A.J. White. You have not one, but 2 Muskegon Lumberjacks. Shika Godziev and Stephen Peck. And you had not one, but 2 Waterloo Blackhawks, who are still among the league lead. Daniel Moore and Calvin Vachon, who are just off this graphic. In fact, both those guys are somewhere where you see 7 other goalies and 2 other goalies. They're there. Calvin Vachon and Daniel Moore in Waterloo. The success is there for goalies at a big way. Cam Hendrickson, who has 2 shutouts for the Omaha Lancers. He's joined by Mikhail Yegorov, 2 netminders that have been spectacular. Hendrickson, Spoonar, Moffett, and Godziev all tied for second in shutouts. It's that man in Lincoln. Jan Shostak, 3 of them this season, including 1 this past weekend. 7 goalies have picked up at least 1 shutout, or just 1 shutout this season in the USHL. We took a look at the USHL goaltending leaderboards, and we talked about Muskegon, Madison, Waterloo. Of course, you have Lincoln and Fargo, and Dubuque is getting great goaltending too. You're going to see a direct correlation. Those teams, you're going to find them among the top in the USHL standings as of today, November 19th, 2024, just a couple of days away from Thanksgiving. Best holiday of the year. The Dubuque Fighting Saints and Lincoln Stars tied up among the top of the USHL. Both teams in first place of their respective conferences. The Fighting Saints in first of the East with a 1-point lead over top the Muskegon Lumberjacks, with a 1-point lead over top of the Madison Capitals, 26, 25, 24. The points for the top 3 teams in the Eastern Conference. Then a bit of a gap, 2 games. The Capitals are ahead of the Youngstown Phantoms, 4 points. 20 points for the Phantoms in 4th place. Green Bay with 17, Chicago with 14, Cedar Rapids and the NTDP 11 and 6 to round out the Eastern Conference. Over on the Western side of things, the other first place team in the USHL, the Western Conference first place team, the Lincoln Stars, with a 3-point lead over top the Waterloo Blackhawks, a 1-point lead for them over top the third place Fargo Force with 22, Sioux Falls in 4th with 21. Tri-City and Sioux City in the middle portion of the Western Conference, while it's the Omaha Lancers and Des Moines Buccaneers that round out the Western Conference's tight races in the USHL through 9 weeks of games. That's roughly about 18 games per team. And every team has had some great performances. Every team has had some tough performances. But you see Dubuque among the top. 26 points, first place of the Eastern Conference. Muskegon in second. They're on a 7-game win streak. Not just a 7-game point streak. They've won each of their last 7 games, 10 of their last 11. Youngstown, they're riding a nice 5-game win streak as well. Some teams are getting it done every single night, and they're going to be looking to get it done, not just one time, maybe even 2 times this weekend. One team can get it done 3 times this weekend. We take a look at the Week 10 upcoming schedule presented by Flow Hockey. Every game you watch this weekend and all season long will be found on the official live stream partner of the USHL, Flow Hockey. It kicks off on Thursday night, the 21st, 7:05 p.m. Central at the Viero Center, where the Storm welcome the Fargo Force. Then on Friday and Saturday, another weekend of 16 games over the traditional weekend nights. Friday and Saturday night, the 22nd and the 23rd. Green Bay taking on the NTDP at USA Hockey Arena. Now I lied. Those games at USA Hockey Arena are on USA Hockey TV. You'll join Pete Krupski, the voice of the NTDP. But the other ones, Stampede, the Herd, make their way to the Eastern Conference to take on the Muskegon Lumberjacks. Des Moines plays host to the Chicago Steel, while the Storm and Force go at it for the second out of 3 times this weekend. Cedar Rapids plays host to the Fighting Saints, some do Payco Cowbell Cup action, while the Capitals play host to the Sioux City Musketeers. Something like all 3 of the number 1 scorers in the USHL are playing in that series at Bob Suter's Legacy 20 Arena. Omaha plays host to the Youngstown Phantoms, while the Blackhawks in Waterloo welcome the Lincoln Stars. On Saturday, the Jacks and Stampede close out their weekend series. The Gamblers and NTDP do the same, while the Storm and the Fargo Force, 3 games in 3 days. They close it out on Saturday. Then in Omaha, it's the Lancers and Phantoms, Blackhawks and Stars, Riders and Steel, while the Fighting Saints and Buccaneers, they go back at it in Dubuque. Madison takes on the Sioux City Musketeers as the nightcap. Logan Murphy's texting me. Logan Murphy, who puts these graphics together, does a phenomenal job. He says, check out the Lumberjacks and the Herd. The Stampede and the Lumberjacks go at it. A couple former Jacks on the Stampede. Jake Marins, and he goes by Bucho is his nickname. It's Philip Nordberg, a second-round draft pick of the Ottawa Senators. Jake Toll, a former Stampede player on the Lumberjacks. Madison and Musketeers, those 2 teams going at it. That's a game you're going to want to pay attention to. And how about a 3-game battle? Saturday night, do not miss it. The 3rd game in 3 days between the Fargo Force and the Tri-City Storm. It's going to be a lot of fun hockey this weekend. It doesn't matter what game. We can give you our games to watch. It doesn't matter. Watch any of them, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining. You're going to get to see a lot of great hockey this weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. Great games, 17 of them going on in the USHL. And the best part about all of them is that next week, right here on YouTube Live at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, we get to talk about them just like we did here on the U Show. Week 9 of the U Show, Ezra Gennello along with you. A lot of great games coming up this weekend. We can't wait to break them down with you next week on the U Show. Week 10. For now, enjoy Week 10 in the USHL. We'll see you next week.